Hey, welcome. Have you ever felt like you're just stuck on a hamster wheel? Working harder and harder but never actually getting anywhere financially? Well, if that sounds familiar, then you are in the right place. Today, we are going to stop talking about the problem and start focusing on the solution. We're breaking down a proven 5-step blueprint that can actually lead to real financial freedom. Let's get into it.
So that leads us to the million-dollar question, right? If the usual path, just earn a salary, hope for a raise, doesn't really work for most people, then what does? What's the actual system that wealthy people use to build and, just as importantly, keep their money?
And let's be real for a second. We've all felt this. It's called the salary trap. You get a nice pay bump, you're excited for a minute, but then somehow your bills and your spending just magically rise to meet it. Suddenly, you're right back where you started. It is an incredibly frustrating cycle, and it's what keeps so many people from ever building real wealth.
But here is the big secret, the key insight. The wealthy aren't just working harder. They are literally playing a different game with a different set of rules. They use a completely different system. And the best part? It's not some complicated top-secret formula. It's actually pretty simple. It's repeatable, and today we're going to lay out that exact blueprint for you. So here's our game plan. First, we'll reveal the whole 5-step wealth system. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of building your financial foundation, and after that, how to fire up your growth engine. And stick around for the end, because that's when we'll show you why this system itself is the real secret. Okay, let's pull back the curtain on the blueprint itself. This is what we call the wealth system. It's a 5-step process designed to take you from wherever you are right now and guide you towards financial independence. The only catch? You gotta be consistent. And here they are, the 5 steps. Income, control, saving, investing, and finally, assets. You gotta think of these like gears in a high-performance engine. Each one has to turn for the next one to work, and when they're all humming together, that's when you get serious momentum. So, let's start at the beginning with the foundation.
Okay, part 1, building your financial foundation. This is all about the first 3 steps: income, control, and saving. Seriously, think of this part like pouring the concrete foundation for a skyscraper. If you mess this up, or if it's not absolutely solid, everything you try to build on top of it is eventually just going to come crashing down.
All right, step 1, income. Everything, and I mean everything, starts here. This is the fuel for the entire machine. Before you even think about stocks or real estate, your #1 job is to get your income up. Without that fuel coming in, there's nothing to manage, nothing to save, and certainly nothing to invest.
So how do you actually do that? Well, the most reliable way on the planet is to invest in yourself. Acquire what are called high-income skills. These are the things the market will always pay top dollar for. Skills like sales, digital marketing, coding, or just being a fantastic communicator. The more valuable problems you can solve, the more money you will make. It's that simple.
Now, this next part is where so many people trip up. They get that bigger paycheck and think, I made it. But that's not the finish line. Not even close. Which brings us to step 2, control. Because look, it does not matter if you make $1 million a year. If you spend $1,000,001, you're still broke.
This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the trap most people fall into: lifestyle inflation. Income goes up, and so does the spending on a nicer car, bigger house, more vacations. On the right, that's the goal. Your income goes up, but you intentionally keep your spending the same. You see that widening gap between the 2 lines? That is the raw material for building wealth.
The source material really doesn't pull any punches here. It says, if you're earning a good living but you still feel broke all the time, that's not a money problem. That is a discipline problem. Ouch. But it's true. Getting a handle on your spending is all about building better habits. It's a behavioral skill, not just a numbers game. So once you've created that gap we talked about, you can finally move on to step 3, saving. And the point here isn't just to hoard a pile of cash for the sake of it. No, the point is to build a shield, a financial buffer that protects you when life, inevitably happens. It keeps you out of that soul-crushing, high-interest debt that destroys wealth faster than anything else. So what's the target? The gold standard is to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of your essential living expenses tucked away. And you want to keep this in a separate, high-yield savings account. Someplace you can get to it in an emergency, but not so easy that you'll dip into it for a pizza. This fund is your peace of mind. It lets you make smart choices, not desperate ones.
Okay, so the foundation is poured and it's rock solid. Now it's time to start building skyward.
This is part 2, activating your growth engine. If those first 3 steps were about playing solid financial defense, these next 2 are all about going on offense. And that brings us to maybe the most powerful wealth-building tool ever created. Step 4, investing. This is where the magic happens. This is where you take your money and you put it to work. Thanks to the power of compounding, which is just a fancy way of saying your returns start earning their own returns, your money can start growing all by itself. It finally starts working harder for you than you do for it. Now, I know a lot of people get really intimidated by investing. They think you have to be some Wall Street genius or predict the future. The reality, it is so much simpler than that. The real key is just consistency. Just regularly investing a set amount, month in and month out, into simple things like broad market index funds, that strategy has proven to be the most reliable path to long-term wealth, period.
And all that consistent investing eventually leads you to the final destination, the ultimate goal. Step 5, assets. This is where you achieve what people call financial freedom. Because let's face it, real wealth isn't just having a big number in your bank account. It's having assets that generate income for you, whether you're working, sleeping, or sipping a drink on a beach somewhere.
So what do these assets actually look like? Well, it could be anything. It could be dividend payments from your stock portfolio. It could be profits from a small business that runs without you. Maybe you create a digital course or you buy a rental property. The point is to build multiple streams of income so you are never, ever dependent on just one paycheck. Okay, I need you to really lean in for this part because this might be the most important piece of the whole puzzle. The real secret isn't hidden in any one of these 5 steps. The secret is the system. It's understanding how they all have to work together.
Think about it. If you skip a step, the whole thing just falls apart. Let's say you're amazing at making a high income, but you have zero control over your spending. What happens? You're broke. A high income minus any discipline still equals 0 at the end of the day.
Or how about this one? Let's say you're a world champion saver. You've got that emergency fund built up, but you're too scared to ever start investing. Well, your money just sits there, and every single year, inflation acts like a silent thief, eating away at its value. The money you saved last year buys you less this year. You are literally losing ground by standing still. Every single step is critical. And that really brings us to the why. Why are we even doing all of this? It's not about being obsessed with money. The real goal here is freedom. It's the freedom to choose what you do with your day, who you spend your time with. It's the ability to walk away from a job you hate or a situation that's not right for you. That is what true wealth gives you. So here's the bottom line. You have the blueprint now. You know the 5 steps: income, control, saving, investing, and assets. This system isn't theory. It works. The only question left is, are you ready to start building? Your financial future is waiting.